Give it to me like.
Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Ironman completion series with me, the LazyBoneZone, who's still a hardcore Ironman. After the completion of Wintertop last week, I wanted to start looking at getting some upgrades in all departments, from melee gear, magic gear, teleportations, and finally getting the levels needed to complete most quests. Starting this week at level 1316, the first thing I did was grab my best melee gear and went to Corrend Catacombs to dispatch hill giants. I killed just under 1700 in total whilst working towards 60 attack, and I came back after some quests to finish 55 defense later on. I chose this location as there is a few combat achievements and I can start collecting ancient shards and totem pieces ready to fight Skatizo. I will be making a video soon where I show the loot from 15,000 of these and kill the hill giant boss Obor after I've completed the remaining tasks I set myself to leave the early game. These giants also drop long bones and curved bones. Long bones at a rate of 1 in 400, which will be collected along the way. I've completed 27 quests this week, starting at 171 quest points and ending at 215. First off was Monkey Madness 1. I chose Attack and Defense XP as the main styles and I gained the equivalent of 4 hours worth of training at Hill Giants. Definitely worth doing this quest when I did. After monkeying around, I went back to Apatol and purchased a Dragon Scimitar for 100,000 GP. This will be my best in slot melee weapon for training for quite some time, and a huge jump over the rune sword I was using. With 2 of the clan members getting the max cape, we took a trip to Barbarian Assault where I managed to get 2 queen kills and complete the collector role ready for when I get the fighter torso next week. After that, I faced death whilst completing the Fremenic trials, slayed an ice troll with my shiny new scimitar before taking its head back to complete Fremenic Isles, giving me a best in slot helmet, Pirate Pete subquest, Big Chompy Bird, into saving Scratch Uglogwi, and finally the Lumbridge guide to go from steel to adamant gloves. Enlightened Journey, Zoga Flesh Eaters, Darkness of Hallowvale. Then I did Tybo One-Eye Trio to unlock Fishing Karambwans, Edgar's Ruse, aka the Drunken Parrot. The next upgrade was buying a rune axe, up from the steel I've had since day 1. I then finally picked up the herb sack from Typh Farm and I have enough points left for 56 grapes to make wines of Zami later on. The next quest required gaining favour at Tybo One-Eye Village, so I stayed until 100% and then I stayed longer to get to Gartuber and mocked a few tasks up for the diaries. The bosses in these quests are starting to get a little tougher and now pose a risk to me. But there's my Big Arms adventure completed. Getting ahead. Haunted Mine. This is a best in slot against anything undead. Contact. The Eyes of Gluffery. Olaf's quest, where I slipped off the platform more than I'd like to admit. I recently discovered that in Temple of Ikov you do not need to collect multiple ice arrows or even have a U or higher bow. You only need 1 arrow equipped and you can use any throwing darts or knives to kill this mini-boss. Handy little tip to save running around. That's Temple of Ikov finished. About 100 small favours and a tour of Gillinor. A Tale of 2 Cats. The Slug Menace for my best in slot prayer armour. Family Crest for the Goldsmith gauntlets. I took some time away from quests and went and purchased 2.7k gold ores and went about using them to get 57 smithing. The next quests were 2 long ones, Underground Pass and Regicide. The final 2 quests, Ascent of Arceus and the Tale of the Righteous, wraps up this week in questing. Since training smithing took all my GP resources, my next task was to use them all up into jewellery I could hire out to train mage. Of course, for that I needed nature runes, so it's time to start Guardians of the Rift. Above is the basic pattern that I did, which gained me on average 6 points per game. I tried to end every game in the yellow portal to start with an inventory of essence. Then I placed a cell wall. I only lost a few games by taking the extra time to repair those walls. The general gameplay is make rune essence, jump into either elemental or the catalytic portal and make the runes. When the time from the last yellow portal reaches 100 seconds, wait around for it, rinse and repeat this method, and each game should last 10 minutes if it's successful. The collection log slot has a mixture of items gained from the reward crate I'm about to open, and from the shop which used the abyssal pearls to buy. I was hoping to achieve a catalytic or death talisman to save me time in the future, but I was unlucky. I went all the way to 65 rune crafting during this stint, and I won't be returning until I'm able to do this more efficiently. I'm glad I did this now, as the teleportation runes alone allow me to move around without worrying about running out, and I have enough nature runes to outdo the jewellery that I made earlier. This is the rune stack that I ended up with. I then spent a few hours running laps of Sears agility course and high alking along the way. Once I'd finished, I was left with 2.3 million GP, 78 marks of grace, and I still have nature runes left for anything else I need to alch. With money burning holes in my pocket, I went and purchased a dragon halberd and upgraded the Iron staff that I obtained earlier. The gear I have now is starting to look closer to where mid-game starts. I still need to obtain Barrow's gloves, a dragon defender, fighter torso, and a real fire cape. The dragon halberd is going to help with any large creatures and provide me with the use of the special bar. Iron's staff jumps me to a max damage hit of 25 using magic, and I'd like to improve the armour again shortly. With all of these upgrades, it was time to attempt my first major boss, Hespori. This is a farming boss that deals both hard hitting magical attacks and double range style attacks, and will cause poison, so it's wise to bring an antidote. Hespori has the last real upgrade I want for farming, being a bottomless compost bucket. The problem with this boss is it takes 30 hours to grow, so can't be repeated back to back, which after this attempt I realised I needed to train way more before I can do any more of this boss. This took me a ridiculous 3 minutes and 7 seconds. I won't mention that I teleported out 3 times so I didn't die. The bright side is I get just under 13,000 farming experience when I do kill this boss. There are 43 quests left, and with a few more level ups I can complete most of the quests that don't have ridiculous boss fights. For those I will need better gear, higher levels, and lots of luck. There was a total of 110 levels gained this week. The starting level was 1316 and ending at 1426. Here are the levels on screen. And with that, I wish you a farewell, and I'll see you next time.